Welcome back to the channel. Now imagine this. You're standing at Singapore's Woodlands checkpoint. It's quiet. The sun's just starting to rise. You hear the hum of electricity overhead. You step onto a train, sleek, clean, maybe even futuristic, and then you just ride. Through Johor, past Kuala Lumpur, into Thailand's countryside, across the Mekong River, into Laos, and finally 3 days later, you roll into Kunming, southern China. No airports, no turbulence, no overpriced coffee in terminal lounges, just steel, motion, and a long, uninterrupted line through the beating heart of Southeast Asia. This is the vision behind the Kunming-Singapore rail link, one of the most ambitious transportation dreams ever imagined on the continent. It's bold, it's messy, and if it works, it could reshape Asia forever. Let's ride. The grand vision. So what is this megatrain anyway? The basic idea: connect Kunming, China, to Singapore by rail, cutting through Laos, Thailand, Malaysia, and all the complexities that come with them. This isn't just about passengers. It's about trade corridors, economic zones, and strategic influence. For China, it's part of the Belt and Road Initiative, a massive plan to build infrastructure across Eurasia and beyond. For Southeast Asia, it's a potential leap forward. Stronger connectivity, cheaper logistics, booming tourism, and a physical backbone for regional integration. But between the dream and the destination lie years of half-finished tracks, political red tape, and epic construction delays. There are three routes in this rail saga, each with its own story and its own headaches. First, the eastern route: Kunming, Vietnam, Cambodia, Bangkok. This one has historic rails, some dating back to the French colonial era. But those tracks are old, mismatched, and sometimes just missing. Vietnam is upgrading sections, and Cambodia has revived parts of its network. But the whole thing feels like patchwork made from second-hand ambition. Next, the western route, through Myanmar. Spectacular terrain, political disaster. Between conflict zones and crumbling infrastructure, this route is basically a ghost story with real casualties. That brings us to the central route: Kunming, Laos, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore. This is where the real progress is happening and where the most hope lies. China-Laos, already working. In 2021, China and Laos did what everyone else talked about. They built the thing. The China-Laos Railway runs from Kunming to Vientiane. It's modern, electric, and runs at 160 kilometers per hour through mountains and river valleys. Laos, once one of the most infrastructure-poor nations in ASEAN, now has a gleaming international railway, complete with tunnels, bridges, and shiny new stations. Of course, there's a catch. The project is deeply funded and operated by China. The signs are in Mandarin and Lao. Most engineers are Chinese. Debt concerns loom, but it works, it runs, and it's proof that this dream can be made real, with the right funding and a lot of geopolitical patience. It's also a strategic win for China, giving it a logistical route into Southeast Asia, bypassing the South China Sea entirely. Laos, Thailand. The big gap, now we hit the Mekong River, and suddenly, the train stops. Laos ends. Thailand begins. But the infrastructure? Not quite there. There is a bridge across the Mekong at Nong Khai. It was built for freight, but it's nowhere near high-speed ready. Thailand has long planned a bullet train from Bangkok to the border, part of its own vision of progress. But construction has been slow. The Bangkok-Nakhon Ratchasima leg is crawling forward with projected completion in 2027. The second leg, to Nong Khai, is in even earlier stages. Delays, lawsuits, environmental assessments, and shifting governments have all slowed the process. This is the choke point, the awkward middle child, the part of the map where progress goes to nap. Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore. Once you're in Thailand, you can technically get all the way to Singapore. If you don't mind slow trains, diesel engines, and surprise delays. Malaysia's KTM network is functional and improving. Some lines are electrified, stations have been upgraded, but it's still far from high speed. And some stretches, especially from Gemas to Johor, feel like forgotten relics of the past. Then there's the KL Singapore high-speed rail, the great Malaysian soap opera. First proposed in 2013, cancelled, revived, cancelled again. Now it's supposedly back for 2027, but expectations are low and funding is shaky. Singapore, ever the cautious planner, is ready to build, but only if Malaysia commits first. So the southern stretch remains a maybe. The political game. If it feels like this entire project is one step forward, 2 policy meetings back, that's because it is. This is not just a train. It's a geopolitical arena disguised as a railway corridor. China sees that as part of its grand Belt and Road strategy. Influence, trade, leverage. ASEAN nations want better infrastructure, but not necessarily Chinese control. Every deal is a delicate dance between debt and development, between national pride and regional logic. There's no central command, just overlapping interests, old rivalries, and the slow bureaucracies. What it would mean if, and it's a big if, this project becomes reality, the ripple effects will be massive. For trade, factories in China could send goods directly to Southeast Asian ports, faster, cheaper, and greener than shipping. For tourism, entire new routes open up for travelers. Imagine hopping a train from Laos to Langkawi or Bangkok to Malacca without needing to fly. For local communities, it means easier access to cities, education, healthcare, and markets. Border towns like Padang Besar could become thriving regional hubs. Even obscure villages could gain new economic life just by having a train that actually stops. It's infrastructure as social transformation. Will it happen? But let's be honest. This project has promise, but it also has problems. Big ones: fragmented planning, uneven budgets, shifting alliances, and a shared history of starting big thing and not quite finishing them. The full Kunming-Singapore rail link might not arrive for another 15, maybe 20 years. Some analysts say 2040 is optimistic. The good news? Even partial links, like Kunming to Bangkok, already offer massive value. And every new stretch built makes the next one more likely. Outro sono. The train doesn't exist yet. Not completely, but that's what makes it so compelling. Because this isn't just a story about steel and speed, it's a story about what could be if we actually work together. If the Kunming-Singapore rail link ever becomes real, it won't just connect cities. It'll connect futures, communities, and the quiet, everyday motion of people trying to move forward. The journey is long. The tracks may bend, but the dream just might arrive on time.